This is a very basic talk for a proposal which I believe most of the people coming into blockchain ecosystem wants to learn about. The proposal is EIP 1202, which is a voting interface, very simple voting interface. And unfortunately, the author could not join us here in person, but he has shared a video talking about this proposal, and he is also one of the ERC editor. So we would love for you to maybe follow this video, and if you have any question for this proposal, maybe you can share that. And you may also find him on EIP/ERC editing office hour.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for being here. This is Victor Zhou, the lead author of ERC-1202 voting standard, and I'm also one of the EIP ERC editors. It's my pleasure to introduce you to the effort of ERC-1202 voting standard, and we look forward for your participation in its discussion, adoption, contribution, and please check it out. Our domain name is ERC-1202. We'll publish our updates there, and you can see a lot of other ways to participate. So first of all, let me give you an overview of why we are standardizing ERC-1202, why we are standardizing this voting standard in general. We happen to believe that the biggest power in the blockchain and Ethereum is being able to make commitments, make promises, but in a very interoperable and compositive way. So we want to be able to build this voting primitive for governance and for many other use cases, right? You have a DAO, people vote, you have a protocol, there's a decision that needs to be made. And in real world organizations, there are boardrooms, there are shareholder meetings, there are voting that comes with, like, people can have homeowner association, people can have class committees, and many other things that needs the decisions together. And there's also things that people don't normally think of it as a voting, but in fact can be represented in voting. For example, multi-sign signatures or polls, surveys, or prediction markets, right? So there are many things that can leverage the voting. Imagine voting is you can use it in any wallet, and it's adopted by most of the DeFi protocol. You can just do it on-chain. Or if there's a way to standardize the off-chain signature verification, we can also make it off-chain to on-chain. So we have big ambition for voting standards. We just need some consensus of how they will be represented. Today, we are sharing this vision, and we would love to gather feedback from you. We have some iterations of our draft. Please go ahead and check out on eips.ethereum.org, or you can also go to erc1202.org to find the current draft, and we look forward to your input. Okay, I'm a little bit too far. The general theme is that we want this voting standards to define these interfaces, events, and behaviors for like creating proposals, managing them, executing votes. It focuses on the entire life cycle of a proposal, ballot types, result interpretation, and we hoped that we'll be able to integrate with aggregators, explorers, wallets, analytics, identity providers, and hope that governance can be a plug and play instead of bespoke engineering for every new community. And we also want this to be able to be flexible enough to support most of the voting schemes, right? Today it's like one person, one vote. Maybe in the future, they will be token weighted, quadratic, delegated, ranked choices. There are many different voting mechanisms. Multi-layer voting support and also weighted by ERC-20, ERC-721 if it's an NFT, or ERC-1155, right? So hopefully in 2025, voting has a lot of new context in this standard drafting, and we wish that we will be able to gather your input. What you see needs to be there in a draft of the voting standard. There's many use cases, right? DAOs, RWA, prediction markets, as I mentioned. There's also ecosystem grants, like important decisions to be made, community events, compositive, and also we hope they can be composable with identity and, more importantly, reputation. If you want to determine like who you want to vote for, or do you want to delegate votes to, or who do you want to follow votes from? You want to follow your votes off, right? So currently we're at the draft refinement. We already have some draft over the past few years, and we also get feedback from last time, actually Istanbul. In the next quarter, we hope that we start to fan out in creating reference implementations with more or less finalized draft. And Q2 of 2026, we hope that it becomes the major time for adoptions. So we look forward to drive this effort with a lot of stakeholders and hopefully, and also people who want to build and who want to advise. The core stakeholder we believe to be DAOs, protocol teams, people who are looking for safer and standardized governance, and hopefully similar to how Quanti has different implementations and then people start to create them. So once you adopt to issue one ERC-20 tokens, it just appear and interoperable to all different wallets. We hope this voting will become this way as well. There will be infrastructure providers like wallets, explorers, analytics, identity, and attestations, right? Or there are systems that heavily rely on voting, right? L2s, roll-ups. And we also look forward to advisors and collaborators or even co-authors if you're very active in drafting EIP, ERCs, if you're security contract, small contract security researchers and audit firms, or if you have expertise in corporate or RWA governance. And this section, we want to talk about how to join the initiative, right? What you can do is you can review and comment on the draft. You can pilot ERC-1202 in your DAO or product, share your feedback or edge cases. You can also join working sessions and discussions, join our channels, Discord, Telegram, our ETH Magician forums. You can also contribute. The biggest contribution that we will need is reference implementations, right? And then also audits, toolings, education would all be great. Now, how do you stay in touch? The canonical place is ERC1202.org, also where you can see our draft. And there's also GitHub repo, X, Discord, Telegrams. We look forward to your participation. Thank you so much. This is Victor, and we look forward to your participation in ERC-1202 standardization of voting. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Victor, for sharing that. I understand, unfortunately, you couldn't join us here in person, but it's good to have information about the proposal, which is very simple to understand, and we are still waiting for it to become a standard. So thank you for sharing that.